You stupid.
They're not.
What's 9 plus 10?
21.
You stupid.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Pinfalls and Playbooks podcast, episode number 21. As always, I'm your host, Faiz Kabir, alongside my co-host, Farhan Khan. And today, we got a jam-packed episode. We're talking about Survivor Series Fallout, Monday Night Raw recap, and as well as the sports. We got our NBA recap, as always, and our NFL week recap. It's getting crazy in the NFL. Teams are starting to get a lot more closer than ever.
Yeah, the postseason push is taking its full toll in the NFL.
At this point, every win matters.
Yeah, a lot of teams are still in. I believe 20 teams are still in there, which is crazy to think
about.
Even teams with losing records are still in there.
Exactly. And plus, we're bringing back our sideline heel takes for this week, and we're going to be talking about two sports that we usually don't always talk about, but we're going to touch on it this week. All right, guys, this week we're going to start off with our WWE recap, and we're going to quickly jump into Survivor Series. And Farden and me both have kind of the same consensus about this show. It was pretty mid.
It was even mid. No, it wasn't mid, man. It was the single most worst premium live event this year, in my opinion. Like WrestlePalooza was bad, but this was just unnecessarily bad, in my opinion.
And the thing that sucks is, like, it had potential to be good.
Oh, 100%.
Especially with the
lineup of it.
The lineup of it too, but also I felt like the lineup hurt this because it was only 4 matches, so that's why it made it even worse. But we're going to start off first with the Women's War Games match. In this match, it was basically just a throwaway match, in my opinion, because these women, I feel like they could have done a lot more, especially with all the talent involved. This is a super star-studded women's roster.
Yeah. This was probably the most stacked women's War Games in recent memory.
And the thing is, like, we barely had any weapons. We had anything. It was just a spot fest, and it was just only for Io to really jump off the cage at this point, and it's starting to get redundant. And I'm not really, like, I love Io. But the thing is, like, at this point, it's just starting to feel like this is something that where she's doing the Kofi Kingston spot. Like, what else can she do different from jumping off the War Games cage?
I mean, it's pretty cool to see, especially this year. She actually did it in a bigger trash can, and then she actually did a flip instead of just actually jumping off.
Right. But overall, the women's face team picked up this win, which we both kind of predicted. So this was a match that kind of was probably leading into future programs, like in the tag team division. We'll talk about that on Monday Night Raw. But next up, we had John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio. This match had the potential to be a really, really good match, especially with this being John Cena's last pay-per-view match or PLE match. And in my opinion, it didn't deliver. And I know that people say that John Cena is super old, like he's retiring, he don't got it, but that's not the case. We've seen him have it, especially ever since SummerSlam.
Especially with the caliber of wrestler that Dominic Mysterio can be and has the potential.
Like, look at it. And the thing is, like, it kind of sucks is because, like, when you think about it, look at the match that John Cena had with Logan Paul.
Right. Yeah.
Especially if he's able to have a good match with Logan Paul like that, why wouldn't he be able to have a good one with Dominic? And I get that in this match they were trying to play up the storyline that Dominic is Dirty Dom.
Yeah,
he's doing these heelish tricks to win this match.
And he clearly did that. He had a spot where he did the similar Hurricane Rana move that Penta did that got him hurt.
Right.
And we thought that Dominic Mysterio was hurt, and like, oh shit. You
know?
That
was a good play.
It was a good sell. It was a good sell for sure. And then John Cena got into the ring, and then we saw the Judgment Day.
And then it started leading to a super overbooked fest where we had Raquel and Roxanne deliver both their finishers. Then we had JD and Finn deliver their finishers, and then ended up John Cena fighting back and delivering a double AA, which ultimately led to Liv Morgan finally making a return, which I kind of predicted that was going to happen. So Liv Morgan came back, and she kind of swerved us again where we thought she was going to turn on Dominic, but in reality she swerved all of us again where it's just
double swerve
on John Cena. And Dominic Mysterio ended up picking up the win in this. So I figured that John Cena wasn't going to keep this title anyway. But Dominic Mysterio won this match, but I feel like it's just did not live up to the expectations that we thought it could have. And it sucks that this is going to be the last appearance we see John Cena on a big pay-per-view PLE match.
I feel like this was more rushed than anything. Like, this whole pay-per-view just felt rushed.
And there's no need to rush it when it's a 4-match card.
Right, and it's like, the things that they could have accomplished doing this match for John Cena and Dominic Mysterio, like, a lot more could have been involved. Like, obviously, Rey Mysterio could have gotten involved. He didn't want to, perhaps, but it's, I don't know, man. The creative behind Survivor Series this year, it just didn't pan out the way that people wanted it to.
For sure. And then next up, we had another just kind of a Raw match, or maybe even
this should have just been a Raw match.
This should have been a Raw match, but I guess they wanted to get another women's match on the
she's
card.
From there, perhaps.
Probably, but we're talking about Stephanie Vaquer versus Nikki Bella for the Raw Women's Championship.
I just want to say one thing: the crowd was dead this match. They had no like enthusiasm, like I don't know, man. It was just awful to watch.
And the thing is about this match is just I know that Stephanie Vaquer is a really good wrestler and a really good worker, but the thing is, Nikki Bella, I doubt that this is going to be any more appearances from. We might still see appearances from her, but I don't think that she's going to deserve any more championship matches for sure.
No. The chemistry just wasn't there between the two.
Yeah, and it was just a very like whatever match. Like they put on a good match. Like it was a good match for Raw. It's just not a PLE match in my opinion. And one thing that I want to talk about is like I hope that Stephanie Vaquer is not just starting to become just a move. And that's what I'm talking about is her Devil's Kiss move, which is literally, I get it, like everyone wants to see that move. And it sucks, like I'm starting to see like the crowd and even the commentators are only talking about when is she going to be able to do that move, when and where. Like, and I don't want that to be the thing where it's like, okay, she's literally just because of a Devil's Kiss move, I get it's over, but she's way better than that. And
it kind of reminds of like when Santino had the Cobra.
Yeah, exactly. But the Cobra was his finisher, though.
Oh yeah, this is 100 times better wrestler.
But the Cobra was his finisher actually, so that's different. Stephanie Vaquer does this as a setup move for like just throughout the match. Right. So that's why I feel like if she continues to do this move, like it's something that I get that she should definitely like continue. Obviously, it's over, but I hope that the wrestlers and the fans and even the commentators don't fall in love with this.
No, for sure. There's more to her than just that, and they'll figure it out. Especially obviously now that the fact that she's holding the title until Naomi comes back. But she's been a good champion. She's been fighting, and that's good for the company, you know?
And it's just going to be pretty much building to whatever is next in the big main storyline for her. But next up we had the main event, the men's War Games match, where we talked about it, where we thought it was going to be the biggest star-studded War Games match ever. And honestly, in my opinion, this match started off well. It had a really good promise. It was starting good, and then once we got to the latter half of this match, where like I would say honestly, like in the last 5 to 7 minutes, it just fell apart in my opinion, and that was because it was just overbooked in my opinion. We had obviously Roman Reigns on one side leading this team, which was the final matchup was basically Brock Lesnar to come out with Roman Reigns. There's some key things we could talk about this match. I think Jey Uso
climbing the top of the cage and
top of the cage and
like a freaking
dancing.
maniac.
He was sexually assaulting the War Games cage. That's what he was doing.
He was.
And pretty much what happened when the big spot is that he was doing this and Brock Lesnar's music hit. Brock Lesnar didn't wait for the count, the 3-minute limit, because like it's just Brock Lesnar's character. He's like, he's not gonna wait for it. He wants to come and fight.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar came in, didn't do much really.
He just started beating everybody's ass, suplexing everybody.
Suplexing and hitting and delivering some few chair shots, and after that it was just a big build up to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns came out and pretty much didn't really do much either, and
it's crazy because Brock Lesnar stood outside the ring. He found the loophole that the official War Games match doesn't start until everybody's in the ring, and if somebody leaves the ring while they're in the match, that team forfeits. So he went outside. They started scrapping outside. They
delivered
ring.
I think Brock,
it was like 4 Superman punches. This guy.
And then Brock just delivered a F5 on the table and just took out Roman for a bit.
And then he just carried him into the ring, and then just the chaos ensued right then and there.
And then in this match, pretty much what ended up happening is we had a masked mystery man come out pretending, and the audience and WWE pretty much wanted the audience to feel like and think that it is Seth Rollins.
Right.
Obviously, it can't be Seth Rollins because he just went through shoulder surgery, and I guess this is the storyline to keep him involved in the story. But in my opinion, when I thought about it, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Why would WWE try to make us think that it's Seth Rollins when Braun Breaker took him out?
Right.
The storyline is that they kicked Seth Rollins out the group.
Well, it's obvious that it's somebody else.
And they're trying to swerve us. Like,
we'll go into the theories of who it is. Wink, wink. People are saying it could be Austin Theory. I heard rumors about being fucking John Moxley for some strange reason.
Okay.
Who else did we hear?
There's a lot. Chris Jericho.
Edge.
Right, and
Edge is too slim and taller.
Right. It's obvious that most likely it was Austin Theory under that mask, and I feel like this was because it was definitely rumored before that they thought Austin Theory was going to be part of this. If Seth Rollins never got injured, he would be already brought into the Vision. Logan Paul would have never been on this group either. But pretty much that's the match played out. But the big thing and the only thing that I did like about this match is we had Braun Breaker pinning CM Punk to win the match for them, for the heel team, which is a great thing because Braun Breaker has now a pinfall victory over the world champion, which means he's entitled to a future world title shot.
I don't agree with that logic. Like, you're in a tag team match, and you're.
Well, that's wrestling logic 101.
I
though.
understand, but if you think about it from like a logical perspective, it's like, yo, it was. I get it. It feels like a singles match. You know, that makes more sense if it wasn't for the title. You know, a number one contenders match. But just because my man pinned the champ doesn't mean that he's given himself the opportunity, because anybody could have pinned him. Obviously, Braun Breaker pinned him because we know he's next up. You know what I mean? But I just don't like that logic.
That's just literally wrestling logic 101 all the time, back then, forever. Yeah. Where they basically, whoever the champion gets pinned.
That's the only issue that I had with it. I'm glad that he is getting the opportunity, which we'll touch upon for a Raw recap, but there could have been a better way to do it, you know? Like, you could have had a number one contenders match and have him win it. And obviously this is going to lead into the new year and into WrestleMania season. Basically.
Right, so, but overall, that was the Survivor Series recap. Just honestly, if you have...
And they didn't have no damn cages. We forgot to mention that. They had no cages.
Yeah, that was because of logistics, but you couldn't do it.
I don't know, man.
But overall, I think, I don't know about you, but I'm going to give this show, if I had to give a rating out of 10, I'd probably give it like a 4.
I would give it a 4 too. Yeah.
And
it's potential, so much potential, but...
Yeah, so this was, like, definitely it was one of the worst pay-per-views of the year. I would have to think about it if it is the worst. I would have to think about it, but like, because I don't know, there were so many pay-per-views this year. So if we look back on it and recap it, we'll talk about it maybe at the end of our year, what we thought was our best pay-per-view and what was our worst pay-per-view. We'll touch upon that. Maybe it might make the list an appearance, especially from how recent it is.
Yeah.
But now, let's get into our Raw recap. Raw was yesterday, and before this show even started, we had Triple H talking shit again online about how you guys got to stay tuned for this. It's going to be an epic Raw.
Never believe, and when he says something like that, just don't believe him. You don't believe a lot of things Triple H does and says, and I don't question his decision making. But when he says shit like that, instead of actually just doing it, it just doesn't work out the way that he
And in my
wants
opinion,
it
it wasn't an epic Raw. It was a good Raw.
It was a decent Raw.
There was good Raw. There was good moments.
This was definitely a better Raw than other Raw.
It's a good Raw, but it just obviously wasn't epic to what he talked about.
Right,
but
exactly.
Let's talk about the beginning of the show where we had Rhea and Io come out, and it led to them calling out the Kabuki Warriors for challenging for the tag titles, which led to Charlotte and Alexa coming out saying that they want their shot at it. And, you know, Wrestling 101, once these two teams came out, you already know what was going to happen. I just didn't think it was going to... I thought that since they were dressed in their full gear, I thought they were going to fight, like, right now.
Yeah.
But no, they called it a main event, and I was like, okay. I guess the women got the main event.
Right, yeah.
Whatever, like, it's fine.
We both figured it out, but once we knew that was going to be the event, like, yeah, this is not going to be an epic Raw. It's
and I'm like, which is fine. Like, I don't mind the women getting the women.
Maybe there was something potential for later on in the main event.
Right, and it made sense why they did it in the main event like that. So we'll talk about that. But next up, we had the semifinal matchup between Gunther. Oh, no, sorry. That was later on. We're talking about LA Knight
versus Jey
Uso. So, obviously, a lot of people had opinions about this match going into this, but I thought that Jey Uso was going to win, and I think that we logically thought Jey Uso was going to win.
It just made sense.
But what ended up happening is that Jey Uso didn't win.
No,
and we had LA Knight actually picking up a W.
I'm happy for LA Knight, man.
In this match, it was just...
It wasn't a good match.
It wasn't a good match because it was sloppy on both sides. It was sloppy on Jay's part. It was sloppy on LA Knight's part. And the thing that sucks is, like, these two wrestlers are known to be a little sloppy, too.
Yeah.
They're known to be sloppy, so I feel like I knew
Jay more so than LA Knight. Because LA Knight, his only real sloppiness is when he tries to do that move where he jumps up onto the turnbuckle.
Which I don't know why he keeps doing that.
Yeah, and he always slips.
He's too big for it. I don't know why he tries to do it. And Jey Uso in this match, I remember one thing where it was, I don't know if you saw it or it's audible, that LA Knight was calling out a spot.
Yeah.
Where he was like, closer, because I think Jey Uso was outside the ring.
He's a terrible wrestler, man. He needs work.
Hey, you can't call him listen, he's a terrible singles wrestler. You can't call him a terrible wrestler because he's one of the greatest tag team champions of all time. You can't call someone a terrible wrestler. I understand that,
but like, even when he was fighting with Jimmy, it's like, you have no real... I'm not saying he doesn't have skill, but he has no in-ring like finesse that other wrestlers have. You know what I mean?
He's never going to have a top-tier match.
I mean, unless if he decides to work on his wrestling moves. Because, like, bro, his spears aren't spears. He's just literally running into them, grabbing them, and just throwing them down.
And the thing is, like, you never know, and it might factor and it might help that if he turns to a different new light, might be a heel, that might actually... bring
I
out
love Jey Uso,
a different
but
move set.
he definitely needs something. I'm sick of this yeet shit. And it's getting annoying now. Man.
And pretty much we kind of saw hints of that again, where
Yeah.
at the end of this match, LA Knight won by rolling up Jey Uso. So obviously it's going to cause frustration because Jey Uso hit him with all his moves, hit the finishers, and was going to pin him.
Right.
But the way that he pinned him had his backside to him, which led to LA Knight doing a backside roll and picking up the W. Jey Uso after the match was just obviously he looked distraught.
Yeah.
But he went out of the ring. He started taking out his anger on the Prime the Prime bottles, the little trolley, and started tossing over the the steel steps.
Yeah.
And just flipping out. And he was obviously upset.
People were actually cheering for it too. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, people were like, "What's going on?" There were some people that was going on, "What's going on?" Or people were like, "Oh shoot, it's finally happening," or something starting. But that's something to definitely look forward to. That's something that I think might take place into action the beginning of next year. But next up, we had a Judgment Day segment where it was nothing crazy. They just came out to establish that they're back, full health. Everyone's back together as a whole group. And Liv Morgan is doing this weird thing where she's slapping Dom now and then like giving him affection right after.
Yeah.
I wonder if that she's doing that just because like of just some tension, or is it just like some weird stuff that they into right now?
Maybe it's some like sides of the tide for her turning against them. Maybe perhaps.
Maybe, but it's weird.
Yeah,
But like, let's
for
see
sure.
how that plays out.
She looked good though when she came back.
She looked healthy. She was ready to go again, and she's still like when she comes back, she's one of the biggest women's roster people on the roster. And we saw that especially with a backstage interaction with Stephanie Vicaire, basically hinting at that she's coming for that title maybe next year. And it's gonna be interesting to think about who's gonna be the women's Royal Rumble winner going into. That's gonna be a very I don't know who's gonna win that actually.
We'll talk about it once time goes around.
Because there's no clear favorite right now for the women. Or I can't think of anybody.
About Rhea Ripley.
How many times is that gonna be the answer?
Exactly.
But the other thing I want to talk about is next up we had a tag team match for the championship. We had Styles and Lee versus the New Day, and it's funny because like this tag team to championship is never really defended, and whenever it is, it always ends up being a pretty good match because the people that hold the titles are good wrestlers, and we saw this in this match. We had AJ Styles and Dragon Lee working really good together as a tag team. They had developed a lot of good moves together, and the New Day, they're the New Day. They just always have this synergy because they've just been doing this for almost a decade plus probably at this point. And about this match, the only thing I want to really talk about is the cool finisher that was where Dragon Lee, well, I guess AJ dumped Kofi Kingston on top of the ropes, which led to Dragon Lee double stomping him, bouncing Kofi off, which led to AJ catching him into a Styles Clash. That was a dope finisher.
They definitely have to have practiced that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. That was a dope finisher,
though. It was crazy to see.
So I think, and the whole crowd went insane when they saw that finisher too. So that's going to be a finisher going forward. I know next week they're going to be facing the Viking Raiders. I doubt they could do that on the Viking Raiders. That would be very impressive if they do that.
Drug test the both of them if they could do that shit.
Drug test AJ Styles if he catches Ivar like that, or Eric. That'd be crazy. But that was that part. Next up, we had a segment where the Vision came out, and this was probably my favorite part of the show, where we had Logan Paul coming out with the Vision again, and people were speculating, is Logan Paul officially part of the Vision? What's going on? He's with them again. And Paul Heyman announced that, Logan Paul is now officially part of the Vision. So that makes that group even younger, and even going for that talent where they're all really talented and want to pretty much be the top stars going into next year. And we had a huge promo and a fiery promo for Braun Breaker. And people always talked about how good Braun Breaker is in the ring, and they knew that he had potential to have really good mic skills. But when he finally got the chance to shine, he called out CM Punk, challenged him, and pretty much said that he's going to be fighting CM Punk next year at the beginning of the Raw, January 5th, in Barclays to start the year off. And in my opinion, this is the best Braun Breaker promo I ever heard him do. And I wasn't really like hyped about this match. I'm like, okay, it's good and fine. We found out that CM Punk is out of action for a while because he probably has sustained an injury. Mm-hmm. But there's been news that came out today that his dog passed away.
I saw that,
I wonder if that probably played a factor too, that he needs time to recover from that, plus an injury. So it might work out. We might not even see CM Punk until the beginning of next year.
Technically, we don't really need him for the rest of the year.
He has, it's like 2-3 weeks where he can just take off and pretty much let the Vision build and continue to build that match.
Yeah, there'll definitely be some spots with attacking like the Usos.
Whatever, and let Braun Breaker actually wrestle a few times, just picking up dominant wins, just leading right into the title picture match.
Exactly.
But this was great to see. Braun Breaker, he's ready. Obviously, I think that he might even win the title to start the year off in Raw. That'd be a great way to start the Raw and start the year. But let's CM Punk, I know that he's not going to really be a champion for too long. And it all depends on Seth Rollins' return. Because Seth Rollins is slated to return by WrestleMania. If he returns by WrestleMania, then you can definitely see a triple threat between Braun Breaker, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. Because obviously Seth has problems with both of them now. If you really want to do it like that. But
Potentially, yeah.
But let's see. I'm hoping that Braun Breaker does pick up the title in January. That'd be a great way to start the year. Next up, we had the second semifinal matchup between Gunther and Solo Sikoa. These two put on a banger. And you don't really hear that much about Solo Sikoa putting on a banger anymore.
Yeah.
He used to do it a lot in the NXT because he obviously had the chance to free roam. But when he got to the main roster, he's a different character. He's a leader. And obviously you can tell he has personality and he's decent in the ring. But when you step in the ring with someone like Gunther, who is probably...
You have to elevate yourself.
Who's probably top 3 in the world in wrestling and probably wrestlers in the world, Gunther takes it to another level. And this was going to be a tricky matchup because you have a heel versus heel. How are you going to be able to showcase both of them being heel? They did a really good job in this match showcasing that. We had Solo Sikoa doing some heelish moves. We had even Gunther doing a heelish move, and it was the biggest heelish move of the night where we delivered a low blow to Solo Sikoa, hit the powerbomb for a win. And I'm like, oh, look at Gunther taking the cheap way out to pick up a W. He never really does that, but it makes sense because you're fighting someone that's a heel, and you want to do the cheap way out and you want to win.
It's basically like an eye for an eye.
Eye for an eye, and also it keeps Solo still looking strong because he lost to a low blow.
Right.
But this was a great match, best solo match I've seen in years, in my opinion. Which led to Gunther versus LA Knight, which is going to be happening on SmackDown.
This Friday.
This Friday on SmackDown, and obviously we all know who's going to win this match.
I mean, listen, man. I don't think a lot of people are expecting the Jey Uso loss.
For sure, that's fine. Maybe that, and it makes sense. They probably did the loss so they can build more story for Jey. But you're not beating Gunther. I'm sorry, LA Knight is not the person to beat Gunther, and that's not gonna happen.
Anything's possible, man. I would rather see. Actually, no. I don't
You
wanna
would rather see LA Knight and John Cena? Come on, man. What kind of match would that be?
I mean, you never know, bro. It's just a matter.
I'll tell you one thing, John Cena. I'll tell you one thing. Gunther will pull out the last inch of John Cena's great match left in him. I'll tell you that much.
That's true.
Versus LA Knight. Where he's going to deliver this stupid BFT move. That move is terrible, first of all. And the only thing that would be great about that program is the promos. That's it. But the thing is, what are you going to promo? John Cena's not even going to come.
Yeah.
So you can't even do a build-up.
Right.
You're going to have literally you have one show in between Saturday night's main event and the winner of this tournament. And they're going to do that on Monday where the winner of the match is going to address John Cena on Raw. It's probably going to be Gunther talking about how he's going to put an end to John Cena and all this stuff, being the evil foreign heel.
Like how he retired Goldberg and all of them.
He's going to be He's going to be the legend killer at this point, the next legend killer. Before we got into the main event, we had a quick little backstage segment with Logan Paul and Rey Mysterio. They obviously have history together. Logan Paul beat Rey Mysterio for the U.S. title a couple of years ago, and Rey Mysterio slapped the shit out of Logan Paul.
I've seen it, yeah.
That was pretty bad. But I wonder if this is going to lead to another match between these two. And it looks like, let's see, is Logan Paul actually going to be a reoccurring figure going into 2026? He could be. Why not?
I mean, he has the wrestling capabilities to do so. It's just a matter of if the money's good to him. That's all he's going to really care about. And if they give him the opportunity to, I guess, be there presently in big shows, like, why not? You know, it's good for business.
I'd like to see it. Why not? I wouldn't mind seeing Logan Paul wrestle every few weeks or every few months. Like, it'd be interesting. But let's quickly talk about the main event real quick, where we had the women's tag team matches. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, they were putting on a good match. These girls are all really good at what they do. And it just ultimately led to the Kabuki Warriors picking up, like, disqualifying and just basically taking this match apart, which led to a bunch of teams coming in, like Bayley and Lyra, who kind of want a shot at the tag team titles, and it led to the Judgment Day with Raquel, Liv, and Raquel, Liv, and Roxanne interfering, and they stood tall at the end of the show, and we saw a little dissension where Roxanne wanted to give the title back to Liv because Liv and Raquel were champs before Liv got injured. But no, Liv took a backseat and gave it to Roxanne. So let's see, is Liv Morgan really playing the Judgment Day, or she's really playing
Maybe
along?
she's just looking for the world title instead, and they can have the thing, you know?
So that was pretty much sums up the Raw recap. Overall, good show. Definitely not promised as epic, but we got to build because we obviously have a long ways till Royal Rumble. So there's a lot of stories to be made. There's a lot of storylines to start to come together, especially going into WrestleMania season. It's coming sooner than you think. And we have a big show in a week at Saturday Night's Main Event. There's nothing else really announced for that match card yet, which is kind of crazy.
It's probably just going to be an homage to John Cena.
You got to have other matches on that card,
maybe,
though.
yeah, why not?
What do you mean, maybe? What are you going to have on that card, then?
Just John Cena's greatest... I don't know, man.
There has to be matches on that card.
Sure, yeah.
So they need to start, obviously. Maybe on SmackDown, we might get the first announcement for one match is going to be on that card. But we'll talk about it, and we'll all capture it here. And we'll talk about next week where we'll give our... I guess if we have a card, we'll give our predictions for that Saturday Night's Main Event. But if not, then we'll recapture it, and we'll talk about it all next week. All right, guys, now it's time for our NFL recap for this week, especially Week 13, which was, we had a lot of good games this week. It was Thanksgiving. When Thanksgiving's around, a lot of people like to play football. And it was obvious with all these teams that we're going to talk about, they all kind of showed up and wanted to play football, except for one team. We'll talk about that at the end. We're going to start off with the Packers versus the Lions. So I'll let you go talk about this game.
Yeah, so the Packers versus the Lions, this is actually like a Thanksgiving staple pretty much. I feel like they play every other year. And it's always a great game for the two of them. But we know from week 1 that the Lions, they didn't really play well against the Packers, and they need to prove themselves, especially trying to keep up with the playoff positioning, especially in the division as well.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And the Packers always seem to play their best against the Lions. Makes sense. That's their divisional opponent. And the Lions seem to regress against them. So this game, it kind of just showed pretty much. Jordan Love, he had a big game for them as well. He threw 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Big game from Dontavian Wicks. He had 2 touchdowns. Christian Watson threw a deep bomb to them. And the defense, they kind of just shut out the running game of the Lions.
Micah Parsons destroyed this game. Micah Parsons had almost 2.5 sacks.
Right.
One thing that for the Lions side that I want to talk about real quick is they did lose Amon-Ra St. Brown in the first quarter.
Threw off the floor for the whole game.
Which is obviously, but it's interesting. Lions still played well without him because we had the step up from Jameson Williams.
He had a big game.
He needed to step up because honestly, other than Jameson Williams, there's no other weapons on the outside. I don't know what ever happened. Like Sam Laporta,
he got hurt.
He got hurt,
yeah.
but like I don't know. Like he had such a downfall
Well,
year from last
year.
You
take Amon-Ra off the field. It doesn't open up the passing game as much as the Lions would like. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
especially with the running game not being existent.
Yeah, because Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery were shut down by Micah Parsons in that entire line.
This was the game that Jared Goff got sacked the most in his career, and they pressured him like crazy. And now the Packers, they're leading the division, or so we thought. But then again, the Lions, they're on the outside looking in right now, and it sucks because they have a great team on paper, and you know it's just a matter of them trying to win. And I don't know what else like.
Yeah, and pretty much the Packers, it's weird because we thought the Packers were gonna pretty much not, like fade out of the playoffs, but Jordan Love and the coaching crew, they kind of stepped up in this game. They knew that Micah Parsons, for that major trade that they did for him, they knew that eventually it was gonna pay off, and it kind of did, and it might pay off going forward because the Packers could possibly make the playoffs now if they continue to play like this.
Right.
Next game on the docket we have is the Chiefs versus the Cowboys. The Cowboys come out firing in this game, and they continue to show why they have the
best offense in the league.
Tied with the Rams, probably with the best offense in the league. So the Cowboys won this game 31-28, and like we talked about this before, this game was going to be our biggest and most anticipated Thanksgiving game.
Right. This had like that Super Bowl feeling to low key. You know, you have 2 prominent teams, 2 great franchises, their star quarterbacks, their star players, and all that, and it just felt like it. It did feel like it.
Dak Prescott, he delivered, and it's crazy. Like Dak Prescott is playing probably the best ball of his life right now,
and he's getting the ball to his playmakers.
And he's getting into CeeDee Lamb, he's getting into George Pickens, who might be the second best receiver in the NFL right now, which is insane because George Pickens was getting counted out last year. People didn't even think he was good or didn't really show like that. But now every week he continues to show why he's a top receiver in the NFL. CeeDee Lamb is CeeDee Lamb.
He had a signature game that he needed because he was struggling the last few games.
Yeah, and that's because obviously it's obvious that Dak Prescott was getting the ball to George Pickens more, and that's just because he's hot. But once you're able to balance it and get it to both of them, I don't know how you stop that offense.
No, it's like a matter of who do you want to guard for? Who do you want to double team?
Yeah.
You double team one guy, the other one's going to be open.
And I want to quickly talk about and a shout out to the Cowboys defense. They played really well. They shut out Patrick Mahomes in the second and third quarter. A lot of people can't say that. You're shutting out Patrick Mahomes, not letting him get to do what he does best.
Right.
That's crazy to me. Patrick Mahomes didn't really get the ball to his playmakers, but the game got really close at the end because at the end of the day, it is Patrick Mahomes. He started delivering balls where it needed to be. For example, I think there was a big play to Travis Kelce where Travis Kelce, it's just his security blanket at this point.
Yeah.
Like, when all else fails, just get the ball to him.
And then he had that one throw where he was falling down across the body through the field, straight dart down the field.
That was insane.
That was crazy.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that play, my mouth was open. I was jaw dropped because I don't know how he delivered a perfect spiral, like 50, 60 yards on the dot. That was insane. Like in reality, falling down. But Cowboys, they held on. They picked up the victory. Next up on the docket we have is the Eagles versus the Bears. Our first ever Black Friday game, right?
No, this is the third Black Friday game.
Third Black Friday game, but this is a weird game because
You have two teams that are like leading their divisions.
I know you picked the Eagles.
Yeah.
I picked the Bears.
Right.
And the Bears did what I thought they were going to do. They showed up.
Their defense showed up, which is crazy.
Their defense showed up, but their run game showed up.
Yeah.
And that's a big game from Mungai and DeAndre Swift. They both rushed over 100 yards. They each had a touchdown. Caleb Williams made solid plays. He's looking like more and more like a number one pick because I know a lot of people counting him out.
It's that Ben Johnson offensive system, man.
It is. And
Coach of the year, perhaps.
Ben Johnson delivers a good system, but Caleb Williams is making and extending these plays. He's doing what he does best. Because Caleb Williams, when he's with his legs, he's really good. He's actually really good on his legs.
Especially now that he has the emergence of Roma Dunze and DJ Moore with Colston Loveland. It's just a matter of getting them the ball, the right play calls, and you know that Caleb Williams has the arm to get, like the arm talent to do it. You know?
I know. In this game, so the score was 24-15. They held the Eagles to only 2 touchdowns, which is crazy. Let's talk about how A.J. Brown finally had a really good game. Jalen Hurts finally got him the ball. And when he got him the ball, he puts over 100 yards. He had 10 plus catches, I think.
I mean, it's like he's been complaining that he wants to get the ball, right? And he gets the ball, but they lose. And I've seen memes where it's like, he's laughing that he got the ball, but they lost. But it's crazy because the Eagles, they still have Saquon Barkley, and they're not utilizing him.
Is Saquon washed now?
I don't know, man.
Did he have a major fall off here?
It's also the fact that the teams that are playing against the Eagles, they're understanding the Eagles' run schemes that's preventing them to run the ball well. I think he only went over 100 once, and that was against the Giants.
Right, and now teams are starting to figure out how to deal with this tush-push crap.
Yeah, you got to knock out the ball. That's all you got to do.
Don't worry about getting him down. Yeah. Go for the ball.
Go for the ball. That's all you have to do
because
against the
we saw
push.
a fumble play happen in this, and Jalen Hurts, he had 2 turnovers in this game. I think he also had an interception as well. That was pretty costly. But Eagles, not on top anymore. We have the Chicago Bears, out of all teams.
Not even the Rams either.
Leading the NFC.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams.
The 1 seed.
Let's go. Maybe. Let's see how it goes. I know a lot of people are calling them very fraudulent because of their schedule and who they played. But this was a game that a lot of people were going to put their markers on to see if they can do it. And they did it.
Right.
So let's see how it goes moving forward. It's a lot of boosting confidence for them.
Yeah.
Next up we had is the Texans versus the Colts. I just want to say the Colts are frauds.
Yeah, they're definitely frauds.
I knew that this wasn't going to stake up.
They have no offense outside of Jonathan Taylor. Like Daniel Jones, he'll do what Daniel Jones does. He'll get like a big play. Then when the game matters the most, he won't produce.
Yeah,
that's really
Texans won this game 20-16. We had a return of C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud played this game like a classic C.J. Stroud game where he pretty much didn't throw crazy, but he did enough to pick up the W for them. The Houston defense continues to prove why they're one of the best in the NFL. You held the Indianapolis Colts to probably, 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, they're the best offense in the league, too.
Jonathan Taylor didn't even have 100 yards. No. I think he had like 80 or something.
He only had he had 75, I believe.
Yeah.
And most of it was just crunch time runs.
Yeah, it was just at that point, it didn't even matter. It was wasted time, but the Texans now starting to make a quick late push to get into the playoffs. Let's see how it goes.
Potentially win the division because they play the Colts again in a couple of weeks.
Well, we're going to talk about it in our predictions for next week. Where it's a big game against the Jaguars.
Right.
So the Texans probably could possibly make and win their division. Let's see how it goes for them. And then the last game on the docket we had was what everybody pretty much assumed was going to be a beatdown. Was the Patriots versus the Giants.
Now, here's a team with a favorable schedule, which is the New England Patriots.
But guess what? we have the most favorable schedule, but guess what? Our players are delivering. Every single player on our team is delivering. The Patriots have the best special teams in the NFL. I don't care what anybody says. Almost every other game, we get a special teams play like for a touchdown or something because we have the best punt returner in the NFL, Marcus Jones. Marcus Jones in this game delivered another 94-yard punt return touchdown. The Giants are looking sorry. I want to quickly talk about Jackson Dart. So there's been a lot of drama about how Jackson Dart was getting beat up this game because of the Patriot players. I'll tell you one thing. It's coached by Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel is a person that does not care. He will coach these players to possibly, not hurt them, but basically establish your dominance. And that's what the Patriots have been doing. The linebacking crew decided to be on one last night and try to fight this whole Giants team. There were so many scraps last night throughout that matchup. It was insane.
It was very unnecessary.
But I feel like the Giants, like the O-line, were starting stuff that didn't even need it because Jackson Dart's running out of bounds. The new rule is now.
Yeah, but why are you going to try to target him going out of bounds? So it's one thing if he was still on the field.
But it's all legal. That's the problem.
Well, not when he's going out of bounds. They threw a flag on him.
No. They didn't throw a flag on that play.
How can you not throw a flag
But they didn't throw a flag because you're a legal run. The new NFL rules, they talked about this during the whole thing where they sent out tape to every team that if you're a full legal runner and you're putting your shoulder down, you're a legal runner. You're able to get hit. And that's what Jackson Dart keeps doing. That's his problem for not sliding and not getting out of bounds quicker. No one's telling Jackson Dart to keep going. And you know why I don't blame him or I don't think the Patriots are at fault? Jackson Dart, after the press conference, said, it's football. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to run. If you're going to talk like that, you're going to get hit. Especially you're a rookie.
Right.
You know players want to go after him too. So at this point, you either slide or get out of bounds. And the Patriots, they're going to continue to establish their dominance. Drake May VP is looking like the best quarterback in the NFL right now after this week because obviously it's the schedule, but Drake May, he's so efficient. Like, yeah, we thought the Giants defense was going to play well. First of all, I don't even want to know what's going on with Abdul Carter. I don't know why the hell he's not even playing.
The whole near teams are in dysfunction right now. So.
But Drake May delivered the ball on perfect. Kayshon Boutte was back, delivered looking like he never left. Our run game, Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson were looking solid. Overall, in my opinion, the Pats look good on all three levels, offense, defense, and special teams. It's going to be hard to beat a team like that when they're playing solid football. And Mike Vrabel
he's just a player's coach.
He's the exact definition of where coaching matters.
Right.
You bring in a coach. We lost 13 games last year. We're literally not ever going to probably lose 13 games again with a coach like that.
No.
But the Patriots are on top. In my opinion, they're the number one team in the NFL right now. And nobody can say anything about it because obviously our record proves it and just our dominance on all three levels. But that kind of sums up our NFL recap for Week 13, and we'll go jump right into our NFL Week 14 predictions. So first on the docket we have is the Cowboys versus the Lions.
Yeah, so both of these teams, they played on Turkey Day, and they're just basically taking a week off.
Yeah, it's a long week.
It's basically Thursday to Thursday, it's Sunday to Sunday. So this game is interesting because we don't know the status of Amon-Ra. I heard that he's still questionable, but he didn't practice the last couple of days. With that being said, I think the Cowboys win this game. I don't think the Lions, they have much room to improve upon, especially with the loss of Amon-Ra. Obviously, they'll make the adjustments when necessary, but the Cowboys are just too hot. Their offense is rolling. Their defense is doing really well. They're very well coached as of right now. Quinnen Williams is looking like Quinnen Williams of old. And
he's looking like he has purpose again.
Yeah, George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, probably two big games. CeeDee Lamb generally goes off against the Lions anyways.
Yeah.
But I'm rolling with the Cowboys. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game as well. I'm going to say the Cowboys win this game 34-23.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with the Cowboys as well. Like all the things you said, I think they're just too hot right now. The run game is starting to look okay as well. Javonte Williams had a big year starting off. Now it's slowed down because Dak Prescott and probably the offensive coordinator realized we just got to pass the game.
Yeah.
And Dak Prescott is known for not really turning the ball over like that. So once we trust him for throwing that ball to those receivers, it should work out. When it comes to the Lions, I think the only way they would win this game is if they have a big game from Jahmyr Gibbs. And that's the only way is to expose that Cowboys defense.
Especially because the Cowboys' running game is not as good.
The run defense,
They do have Quinnen Williams, but you could just always run to the outside numbers, and they don't have the good cover edges for that.
So I'm gonna also roll with the Cowboys though for sure, but I'm gonna go with a little bit more of a bigger gap in this game. I think it's gonna be like a 28-16 type game. It's gonna be a lot of field goals from the Lions. I don't think they're gonna be able to get in the end zone that much.
This game's in Detroit, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Next game on the docket is we have freshly returned
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow and the Bengals versus the Buffalo Bills, where the Bills are looking very weird in my opinion. I don't know. The Bills are looking very like weird.
They're shaky. They're shaky.
Because Josh Allen, it looks like Josh Allen needs to do everything.
Yeah.
And that's always the story with the Bills. At the end of the day, if it's Josh Allen goes or the team goes nowhere.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen at this point decided like I gotta make plays on my own. And they won their last game, but they could have easily lost that game too.
They just got really hot at the end of the game against the Steelers, pretty much.
Yeah. And let's talk about the Bengals, where Joe Burrow was back. Joe Burrow's still obviously dealing with that toe injury, but he beat the Ravens, where it was a big matchup for them. And Jamar Chase looked really good as well, and obviously because
he has his quarterback
he has his boy back. And if the Bengals continue to play like this, can they possibly make a late run? I doubt it, but it's good to see these two still trying to like play together as well, because it's just going to build chemistry, and you don't want your star receiver to not feel like he's not getting the ball or he's just not being used. So having Joe Burrow back, in my opinion, was a security blanket for them to protect their future going forward. I don't think it's going to be for them to really make any run for the playoffs.
Right.
I feel like it's kind of too late for that. But in this game, I'm going to roll with the Buffalo Bills. I feel like the Buffalo Bills need to win this game for sure. It's a must-win, in my opinion, for them. They have to.
I mean, especially with all the teams that are in the hunt right now.
Within the hunt, and especially how the Patriots already separated themselves from it.
Yeah, they're not winning the division.
So, we'll talk about it because like they have a big game next week after, because the Patriots are on a bye week this week.
No.
The week after, they play the Buffalo Bills, and that's going to be a big matchup because, anything can happen that week. If the Bills pick up a win, then they're kind of tied with the Pats for the division in that point. But I'm going to roll with the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills win this game 30. I think it's going to be high scoring as well. I think it's going to be a 35-28.
Okay. You know what's crazy is I was talking to a lot of people. They were saying how Joe Burrow's back. Watch them just get streaky and watch the AFC just sort of unravel itself somehow, especially with all the shaky teams that are in there.
Yeah.
The Buffalo Bills being one. And the thing about last week against the Ravens was they didn't have T. Higgins. And T. Higgins is going to be back this week.
Okay.
So now you have Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. And the defense for the Bengals, they've been stepping it up, especially for the last couple of weeks. And the Bills on the other side of their defense, they've been either injured or they haven't really played well.
Yeah.
And obviously you can't always rely on Josh Allen to do everything. We want him to be Superman, but granted, it's not always going to happen. Obviously they have James Cook and they'll feed him the ball whenever necessary. But that being said, I think the Bengals, they do continue the streaky run, and I think I'm going to roll with the Bengals on this one. I agree this is going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to roll with the Bengals 30-27.
All right. Next up we have is the Colts versus the Jaguars. Big matchup for them.
This is the big AFC South matchup.
I guess the winner of this probably leads that division at this point.
Yeah.
So we have the Colts versus the Jaguars. The Colts been on a losing streak. The Jags, they've been winning games but also losing games at the same time. And it's weird. I feel like this is a game where Trevor Lawrence can actually pull out the W. Trevor Lawrence usually wins games where kind of you don't expect him to win, but they kind of show out. He had a big game with Jacoby Myers had a big game last week, and Brian Thomas Jr., they just got to really get him involved again. Like, he has such a fall off from last year. It's crazy to me because people thought that he was going to take a jump to the next level, but he regressed 2 levels in my opinion. And I think Trevor Lawrence needs to get him the ball, especially in this matchup.
Yeah, he's a superstar caliber wide receiver.
For sure.
They're underutilizing him.
People, like, I remember when he was back in LSU, people even think he was better than Malik. Some people thought he was better than Malik Neighbors. So if you have people still saying that he has a potential to even be on a level or better than Malik Neighbors, there's just power waiting there to get to him. So I'm gonna roll with the Jaguars in this game. I just think the Colts are they're gonna fall off in my opinion. I think they're gonna just fall off a huge cliff at this point. I think Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor was leading the NFL in the MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. Like he was leading in all these categories, but I think it's just a huge fall off at this point. I don't think he's gonna be in the realm of any of those categories anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna roll with the Jaguars. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. I think it's gonna be a 20-16 game.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on this one. I think the Colts, they're not in it to win it anymore, in my opinion. Like they've been shaky the last couple of weeks, and you take away Jonathan Taylor, which I think the Jaguars will do.
Yeah.
If the Texans just did it, they'll understand. They'll watch the film, they'll make the adjustments, and I feel like this has got to be a big game for Trevor Lawrence because everybody's just been questioning him throughout the years, especially since he got into the league, where it's like, yo,
Like,
he
we
has
know
the
you're good,
talent.
yeah.
He has the talent. Can you utilize the talent, especially when you have talent around you? You have Brian Thomas Jr., you have Jacoby Myers now, you have Travis Etienne, who's been playing really well this season. And I'm going to roll with the Jaguars on this one. I'm going to say they win this game 24-17.
All right. Next game on the docket we have is the Bears versus the Packers. Big divisional matchup.
Old school rivalry.
Old school rivalry. It's probably been a matchup forever. We have the Bears, who are just hot, just winning games. The Packers, who are looking to pick up steam to end of the season. I think this is going to be a game where it's going to be a lot of defense. I don't think it's going to be a lot of offense in this game. I think it's going to be a super low-scoring game. But I'm going to roll with the Chicago Bears. I think that Caleb Williams continues to ride that high. I could definitely see Caleb Williams rushing for at least 2 touchdowns in this game too. I think it's going to be a game where Jordan Love is going to get frazzled with the defense because it's weird. When he plays decent or good defenses, he tends to like not play well.
Right.
So I'm going to go with the Bears. I think it's going to be I'm going to go with the 17-12 game. I don't think the Packers get a touchdown. I think it's going to be all field goals.
I'm going to roll with the Bears as well. The reason being is obviously Jordan Love. He's one of those quarterbacks where you look at him and he's like, yo, in the big games, can he produce?
Does he fit your system quarterback?
No. He has no weapons around him.
Oh, okay.
If you think about it. Like, yeah, he has that Aaron Rodgers-esque capabilities of throwing the ball, but who's he throwing the ball to? Like,
there's nobody
but
really.
You don't fear fucking Dontavian Wicks and Christian Watson. You'll fear Watson going down the field.
Especially Matthew Golden.
He has no weapons. Once you start giving him more weapons, maybe I'll think about it differently, especially with how he plays and how the offensive system is called. But in this game in particular, it's going to come down to one thing and one thing only for both teams, is which team can establish the run. And based on last week of what they did against the Eagles, I think we're going to see big games from both Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift. I'm going to roll with the Bears on this one, 27-20.
All right. And then the last game we have on the docket is the Eagles versus the Chargers. So Eagles are coming off a loss. Chargers they won their game, right? So the Chargers have been a team where they kind of started off really hot, but now they kind of fell off. But now can they pick up steam again? Justin Herbert was playing the Raiders. Again, they're playing the Raiders. So
he got hurt.
He got hurt.
And he had surgery today. So
yeah, so that was the interesting thing. So apparently it's nothing serious. They're saying that he's still ready to go next week.
He just needs some time to...
I wonder what kind of surgery that even was.
It was for his hand. Like, he had like a sprained, in his, whatever this is called.
Okay.
Hand.
But pretty much nothing crazy, but it looks like that Justin Herbert might be ready to go. And if he's not ready to go, then I can definitely see the Eagles taking advantage of that, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't know who the backup is for the Chargers. No idea. Like, if you had a gun to my head, I don't think I can name somebody right now. But right now, I'm actually gonna roll with the Eagles this game. I think the Eagles need to win this game. I think they're gonna have a big game from Saquon Barkley, because I don't think the Chargers really have anyone big on their defense to stop.
Derwin James.
Yeah, but come on, how old is Derwin James at this point? He's been around forever. But I think with Saquon Barkley just needing to get the ball and needing to basically the O-line need to open up for him, he can have a big game in this. And I know we sound like a broken record. We think Saquon Barkley's going to have a big game every week. But I can definitely see it in this week, especially playing in LA, I believe. I think they're playing in LA.
Yeah.
So you're playing in LA. You're playing indoors. I think Saquon Barkley is really good indoors. So definitely see the Eagles establishing the run game for sure, and then leading to the play action game. Hopefully they get A.J. Brown the ball again some more. But I'm rolling with the Eagles. I think it's going to be a 28-21 game.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with the Eagles as well. But I'm going to go with the opposite here. I think this is going to be a big passing affair for the Eagles. I feel like, especially with the consistent play that we've been seeing from A.J. Brown the last couple of games.
Yeah.
Try to get Dallas guarded as well, but getting Devontae Smith involved as well. It kind of just makes the offense a little bit better. And granted, they should get Saquon Barkley the ball. But at the end of the day, I feel like because of the questions about Justin Herbert and the defense, they haven't been really playing as well as we thought they were going to. And especially the offensive line for the Chargers, they're just really bad. And Jalen Carter's going to
They lost their
Joel for the season for now. But I'm going to roll with the Eagles on this one. I'm going to say it's going to be 30-17 for the Eagles.
All right. And that kind of sums up our NFL predictions for this week and our NFL recap. All right, guys, now it's time to get into our NBA recap for this week. I'm going to first talk about my 2 favorite games I saw this week. First up, we had the Hawks versus the 76ers. These two teams are fighting for position really in the basically in the Eastern Conference. But the Hawks are continuing to surprise everybody, especially without Trae Young. The Hawks won this game. This went to double OT, where we had career games from Jalen Johnson and even Tyrese Maxey, but Tyrese Maxey's been doing this all season long.
Yeah, their young players for the Hawks have been playing really well. They've been putting up the stats, the numbers, the defense, everything.
In this game for the 76ers, we had Joel Embiid finally decide to show up. He's a big dum-dum. This dude finally shows up. But I don't know, like, one thing that was crazy to me, and I saw the stat line, I was like, how are you 7 foot and you only have 4 rebounds? How does Tyrese Maxey have more rebounds than you? How does Quentin Grimes have more rebounds than you?
I feel like they're doing the double bigs with him and Andre Drummond. I could be wrong about that.
But the thing is, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
You're an MVP. Why are you not getting more than 4 boards?
Yeah, he should be averaging like 10, 12 a game.
It's crazy to me. But in this game, Jalen Johnson, who's playing like an all-star this year, he's been doing this all year. And like you said, like he's getting the ball. He had a lot of assists this game to the young role players. The Big O, they call him the Big O down low. He's been really well this year. Really good this year.
Neka and Kongu?
Yeah, he's really good as well. Maxey continues to play lights out, but in my opinion, it doesn't matter how much he plays lights out. You have people like Paul George and Joel Embiid who are getting a lot of shots up, and they're not going in.
We've been seeing like a decline in the play of VJ Edgecombe as well recently.
Yeah, he's getting into that, I don't know, he's got to get into a system where he's
more motion.
It's weird because he started off the season very hot, like a very hyper, yupper, like fucking rookie.
I guess teams just started figuring out how to control him.
Maybe, because he was just like, all right, we don't know what this kid's about. We saw what he's about now for a few games, and let's see if we can game plan around controlling him.
Yeah.
And just, with a player like Maxey, you can't control him. You probably just realize, all right, let Maxey try to play the game and see how much he can score, but maintain everybody else.
Right.
And that's what these teams have been doing against the 76ers, because the Hawks, they shouldn't have won this game technically, but especially without Trae Young. Like, come on. Trae Young is probably a top 5 point guard in the NBA, or even especially in the Eastern Conference, but maybe even in the NBA when he's hot. But he's not even there, and when he does come back, Hawks are going to be even more nasty.
Right.
Next game on the docket we had was the Dallas Mavericks versus the Denver Nuggets. And the Dallas Mavericks actually won this game on Denver Nuggets home. And the Nuggets usually don't lose at home. This is a good game. The score was 131 to 121. We had Nikola Jokic, who nearly had a triple-double in the first quarter. At this point, it's just hilarious. He can literally get a triple-double anytime he wants. Yeah. He can get a triple-double every game.
It's so common. Like, people back in the day used to say, like, oh my God, he got a triple-double. It's crazy. It's hard to do.
There's a stat back in, like, the mid-2000s where, like, players would get 4 or 5 triple-doubles a year, and that'd be insane to them.
Yeah, now he's getting it 4 or 5 every week, basically, this guy.
It's crazy, but we finally had Anthony Davis finally show up. He put on a big performance, along with Cooper Flagg, who is starting to look more and more like
he's emerging,
the number 1 pick. Right. And it's because the Mavericks obviously are running their offense through him now instead of running the ball and with a point guard, because I remember they started off him as a point guard. That wasn't the wave until we had this new undrafted point guard, Ryan Nembhard, the younger brother. Or is he younger? Or
I think he's younger. He's got to be younger.
The younger brother of Andrew Nembhard.
Yeah.
And this guy has been controlling the Dallas Mavericks offense. He put up 28 points last night. And it's crazy that the Mavericks always tend to get these players and these point guards that people don't really think about. Especially when Jalen Brunson was drafted. They didn't think about him. Ryan Nembhard could definitely fit into that role.
If you can develop your players, anything is possible.
That's the thing. Ryan Nembhard is one of those players like Jalen Brunson where they played a while in NCAA and they kind of developed through that system.
Yeah.
So let's see how it goes with this. But Cooper Flagg, he's going to be the clear rookie of the year in my opinion, especially if he keeps playing like this. I don't think there's anybody in question really. Mm-hmm. It was him and VJ, but at this point,
it's Cooper Flagg.
It's going to be Cooper Flagg because he's going to get more shots. He's going to get the ball around him. But Anthony Davis looked good. Klay Thompson had a nice 15. It's just obviously the Mavericks are not going to go anywhere this year, but it was nice to see them pick up a win and the team looking cohesive. And I'm going to be excited if Kyrie Irving does come back soon. If they do, hopefully they make a late push into the play-in. Yeah,
when healthy, they have a really good roster.
When healthy, we're really good. But we might make a late run into the play-in. We'll see how that goes, or maybe in the 8th seed. But the Dallas Mavericks are looking up. Denver Nuggets, it's just one thing is they need Aaron Gordon back because Aaron Gordon is one of their glues on that team. And Jamal Murray might be probably the most streakiest player of all time, in my opinion. Because Jamal Murray, when he's hot, he's hot. But when he's off, he's so off. Yeah. And it's
he's
so
the definition
weird.
of a volume scorer.
Volume scorer at the highest level, in my opinion. When I think of players that can turn it on and off anytime, and like turn it on, they're so good, and when they're off, they're so bad. Jamal Murray, in my mind, comes to that like it's just crazy to me how he can get 50, but he can some days he can get 15 or like 12,
Right, yeah.
and that's not gonna work because Nikola Jokic can't work with that.
Yeah.
He can't score like Jokic can't score 40 and 50 every game with a triple double and still expect to win. It's not gonna happen. But that was my favorite 2 games for this week.
Yeah, so I'm going to jump right into my 2 games of the week. He just talked about his favorite team, the Mavericks. I'm going to talk about mine, which is the Celtics. Now, the Celtics, we're still without our glorious king, Jason Tatum, and probably going to be without him for the rest of the season. But
You don't think he's coming back?
I don't think so.
You don't think he should though?
It depends where they are in playoff hunt.
If they're in the play-in?
If they're in the play-in, no, don't come back. If you're in the playoffs,
If you make an 8 seed.
if you make anything
Like a
not
6.
if you make a 6 seed or better,
Yeah.
then all right, maybe we'll have that discussion later.
Because you can get favorable matchups.
Right. So they played the Cavaliers, I believe, a couple of days ago, and we had a big game from Peyton Pritchard. Now, Peyton Pritchard is one of those other guys that, like, when he's hot, he's hot.
Yeah.
He's just a crazy shooter. Like, he'll get you 6 threes, and that's exactly what he did. He dropped 42 points against the Cavaliers, and we had a triple-double from Jaylen Brown, who, in my opinion, needs to be a little bit more of a facilitator, because I've been watching Celtics game this whole season, and there's times where it's like, yo, you had a chance to pass the ball, and you didn't freaking pass the ball. Like, I get it. You're the star right now, but at the end of the day, when you don't get your other players involved and you're just taking unnecessary shots, it doesn't look good for your player development.
For sure.
And when you drop a triple-double like that and getting other people involved, it just makes the team overall better.
Yeah.
On the Cavs side, this was actually a really back-and-forth game. The Celtics, they jumped out to an early lead in the first couple of quarters, but the Celtics do what they always have done, which is the fact that they always blow leads somehow, and this was another game that they actually did that.
Yeah.
Because the Cavs, they stormed back. It got really close at the end of the game. But the thing about the Cavs is they have a really great roster on paper, and they shouldn't have lost this game, in my opinion.
No.
But the fact that they did, it's crazy to think about, because Donovan Mitchell is still Donovan Mitchell. He had a subpar game to his standards, but we had a big game from Evan Mobley. And the Cavs, they've actually lost, I believe, like 4 out of their last 5 games, and they're just looking very mid right now. Like, they don't look like the title contenders that I thought they were going to be, because I thought they were going to be winning the damn finals this year. So it's crazy to think about. You know?
For me, it's just like they're not going to be good without having a star point guard leading that offense. I know Donovan Mitchell is playing that role, but like I just think he's so much better in the shooting guard position. Because if you have Darius Garland, who's there, but he just doesn't look like himself.
Darius Garland, in my opinion, is a very overrated point guard, because he scores when he wants to, but he doesn't have that like mentality to do it. And if he had that mentality, that'd be a great backcourt duo.
Right, and no, but like we've seen glimpses of it last year.
Right. There were sports where he was dropping like 30, like it was nothing.
But it's just, I don't know. He got injured, and then after the injury, he's just slowed down from that.
But
I don't know. For me, I think the Cavaliers are looking overrated at this point.
yeah, and the Celtics, they're doing well for now for what their team is presently constructed. We still need a big man, but that's just later for now. Like, we'll see how the season progresses from here and there. Second game I want to talk about is the Pistons and the Heat. The Pistons, they were on a 13-game winning streak, which tied their longest streak in franchise history. They went up against the Celtics a couple of days ago as well. They lost that one.
It's a cup matchup.
Which was a great matchup for both teams, actually. Cade Cunningham, he was playing well, and in this game he was playing really well.
Yep.
And he's looking like probably one of the top 5 MVP candidates right now. You have Shea, you have Nikola Jokic, you have Luka Doncic, you have Giannis, and I would put in Cade right behind all of them.
I feel bad for the Bucks, but that's another discussion.
Yeah, that we'll discuss that later. But we had a big game from Tobias Harris. Yes, the Tobias Harris, he still exists. The team overall for the Pistons, they have scoring, they have rebounding, they have defenders.
Yeah.
And they're looking like a prominent contender in the Eastern Conference right behind the Knicks. And it's good to see, because the Detroit Pistons, they've been living in poverty for the last God knows how long before last season. And this is just a great step up for the team. The Heat, on the other hand, they're one of those teams where they're pricky. They have the right coaching. They're like the Hawks, but with Eric Spoelstra at the helm, man. That definitely plays a big difference. Tyler Hero finally returned. This was, I believe, his 2nd or 3rd game, and he did really well. He had 24 points. But the big story for the Heat was Andrew Wiggins, who finally decided to show up, because Andrew Wiggins, we know him from his Warrior days. He has the capabilities to score. He's just like Darius Garland. He doesn't want to score. Like, he doesn't have that mentality that other players have.
He's the number 1 pick, man, and it's crazy.
And he is a number 1 pick. So when you're playing for the Heat, who doesn't have like the true superstar right now, you got to give yourself that opportunity to grow, elevate your game, But look out now. The Eastern Conference is looking very interesting, especially with how it's shaping up to be. Obviously, like you said, the Bucks, I don't know what's going on with them. That team is in dysfunction. The Celtics, they're very mid. The Knicks are looking pretty decent. The Pistons are looking good. Who else? The Hawks without Trae Young, and the Magic. I don't know about the Magic, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, you know what I just quickly thought about? And the Heat, I feel like obviously we talked about how like they need another piece. And I think it would be a great addition for them is you get a backcourt of Tyler Hero and LaMelo Ball. That would be so fun to watch.
I think it's good for LaMelo Ball's character development if he has a coach like Eric Spoelstra. But you know who I think they should have gotten? Fucking Damian Lillard.
Damian Lillard at this point is, he's ready to just retire at this point. He just went back home. Like he's in Portland just chilling right now.
Right.
And the thing is, like, honestly, he probably never really wanted to leave Portland, or maybe he did, and he just ended up not going to the Miami Heat where he should have went.
Yeah.
And at that point, he probably just realized like, I want to go back home.
Potentially Ja Morant, but do we really want to see Ja Morant in South Beach? I don't know.
That'd be crazy. Oh, that would be a story right there.
Yeah.
But that kind of sums up our NBA recap for this week. Next week, we will touch up on cup matchups because we're getting to the knockout stages next week. Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of matchups.
It actually starts this week, I believe on Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's whenever. No, it's next week.
Oh, it's next week?
It's next week.
Oh, okay,
it's fully next week. So they're going to be one-and-done games. They're knockouts. So that's going to be very interesting to see. And we're going to cover it all here. We're going to give our predictions who we think is going to win the cup because I believe they're all set right now. So we'll talk about that next week. And that sums up our NBA recap for this week. All right, guys. Now it's time for our sideline heel takes for this week. And like we talked about in the beginning of the show, we're going to both be talking about two sports that we usually don't talk about. But with the season coming around, I'll let Farden start off first with his sideline he'll take.
Yeah, so this week I'm going to be touching upon soccer. Yes, soccer. Football. As most of you know, next year the World Cup is going to be here in North America. It's going to be represented in Canada.
Hey man, I want to tell you one thing. When it's World Cup season, it's crazy.
Yo, it's going to be a crazy time. You'll meet the craziest people, the craziest fan. It's going to be epic, especially here in America where soccer is not as prominent. And this week, my sideline heel take is because soccer is not as prominent, America, if they took soccer seriously, they could build a roster that could win it every year, like whether that's the Gold Cup or any other club competitions internationally. It's crazy to think about. Like, you have all of these teams around the world, whether that's Brazil. You think about the best. Brazil, Argentina, England, France, Germany. All of these teams, Spain even.
Right.
They have great superstars. Why? Because they develop their players. And
from a very young age.
And from a very young age as well. And if you look at it from an overall perspective of soccer in the United States, it's not as prominent as the MLB, NBA, NFL, and even the NHL. But in my opinion, I feel like if Americans took soccer more seriously, they could produce a great team that could potentially win World Cups. Like, it's crazy to think about. And I'm going to give you my reasons why. Is because, one, the U.S. has damn near over 300 million people. You mean to tell me that they can't come up with somebody not named Christian Pulisic to play on the team? It's crazy because I'll give you a perfect example. England is basically the United States. The United States is just on steroids when it comes to population. But they have the diversity in England, and they have the great players. You think about Harry Kane, you think of Jude Bellingham, Raheem Sterling. They have every, known player outside of Brazil, Argentina, and Spain. You know what I mean? And the U.S., if they develop their players right, I don't see why they can't build a roster around Christian Pulisic, who's a superstar.
He's a really good player.
Right, exactly. And most of the people in the United States who play soccer, they're of that Spanish, French origin, South American origin, whatever, like Chilean, Colombian, Ecuadorian, whatever. At the end of the day, they're the ones that make or break soccer in the United States because they're the one that play it the most.
Right.
At the end of the day, I want to take into account also the fact that the U.S. has the largest talent pool in the world outside of maybe China and India because of the population. But also the fact that the United States, they don't fund soccer as much as the other sports. Mm-hmm. If you look at it, most schools, they offer football, they offer baseball, they offer basketball. But soccer is one of those sports where it can unite people, especially during World Cup season. If a team is winning, like if your team is doing well in the World Cup, the whole country just feels better as a whole. And it's soccer in outside of the United States is the richest, most known sport.
Yeah, you make the most money in soccer.
Right, exactly. People say here in the U.S., oh my God, baseball players make the most money. Soccer players, man, they look at American styles. You're like, oh, that's cute. Like,
Yeah.
like especially with here in the MLS, like
I don't
compared
even,
to
I don't even know if any MLS players are making millions like that.
nah,
Besides
only
Lionel Messi.
yeah. Like if you look at it from like the English Premier League, the Bundesliga, the French Liga, La Liga,
Yeah.
all these players over there, they're happy where they are, and it's always competitive. It's always a fun time. I know how you said soccer, like you think that American football fans
Yeah.
are much better than soccer fans, but I feel like if we saw that soccer mentality here in the United States, it would give football a run for its money. And at the end of the day, this also falls on the development of younger kids because we're not giving them the opportunity to play the sport. And a lot of the competition relies heavily on the youth, and at the end of the day, the schools, if they're not offering it, how can they do it? So in the long run, I feel like there's so many ways to make this better. Obviously, needs to be funding involved. There needs to be participation at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But when a soccer team is doing well for a nation, it unites the whole nation. And I'm sure that if Americans, they look for a soccer team to do well, they'll feel prideful about it, you know?
Yeah.
But that's basically my sideline heel take, is that if Americans take soccer more seriously, we can produce the best team in the world, in my opinion.
All right. And then kind of leading off of that, where we're kind of staying on the topic of where we feel like America can put more presence on other sports. Now, the other sport I'm going to be talking about, and yes, it is a sport, is F1. F1 is silently becoming one of the most watched sports in the last few years. And that's because, one, the F1 obviously has a lot of factors that play into it. A lot of people love cars. A lot of people love personalities and stars, and that's exactly what the F1 has.
I feel like F1 vibes are so fun, man.
Right,
Like,
so
it's
like
always like a party over there.
exactly.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the F1, we'll talk about where the F1 is just finishing up with their circuit of 2025. So if you really don't know much about the F1, they have races all year long where it's a huge circuit where they go all around the world to do these races. And pretty much in the most recent race was last weekend in Qatar, where they had a huge race. And they're finishing up their last one in Abu Dhabi at Yas Island.
Max Verstappen won the Qatar one, I think, right?
I believe it was Verstappen, yes. But he's not going to be the winner at the end of the circuit because I think Lando Norris is leading the F1 right now. But in my opinion, I think F1 can be probably a top 3 watch sport in America based on how much it's rising.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it because F1 is doing the right thing to appeal the American crowd. Right now, they do have circuits in America, which they kind of introduced not too long ago, where we have circuits in Miami, Vegas, and Austin. And these are all 3 destinations where people assume are probably one of the hottest destinations in America.
It caters to the younger people as well.
Exactly. Now think about it this way: if you somehow put a track in New York and LA, now you hit all 5 major cities in America. In my opinion, those are your top 5 cities in America if you name them right there. If you had to put a list together for your top 5 cities, I think those are it. And F1's doing the right thing about targeting those places because when you go to Miami, when you go to Vegas, and when you go to Austin, like you said, you have that younger crowd, but you have that lavish and experienced feeling. And I know people, when they hear F1 and you think about all the people that go to it, you think they're all very rich and they're very, preppy and expensive. But that's because the F1 wants you to think it like that. And for some people, that's a strategy because I want to make that money. I want to feel like that going to an F1 race because you want to dress like people go to. Think about it this way: you go to a football game, you can literally wear sweats in your jersey. You go to F1, you want to dress up nice. You want to wear a suit. You want to look good.
It's like horse racing in a sense because you have all of these big shots that go dressed really nice.
Exactly, and that goes into for one of the big things that took off, especially during COVID, was the reality TV show that Netflix produced, which was the F1 show. They called it, I believe it was called Drive to F1 or something like that. But that show, everyone watched it, and that's where the personalities came in because we saw people like Verstappen, Lando Norris, and all these other stars, Lewis Hamilton.
Daniel Ricciardo.
All these people saw these guys' personalities like, oh, these guys are really cool. They're so interesting. Let's see how it goes. And that developed an audience on that level. Next up, big brands and celebrities, like we talked about it. Now everyone's at these F1 races. We got Travis Scott, we got all these big brands, Rolex, whatever, always sponsoring F1 because they can see that this is the move going forward.
Especially if they market in New York City and in Los Angeles.
For sure.
They could make a lot more money.
And you have a bunch of sponsors wanting to put their stuff on these cars itself because obviously the cars that are racing F1, they're known car brands. But they're obviously got to make money, so you want to get sponsorships like tech companies or whatever it may be, which leads to more social media impact easily for the F1, which is continuing to grow. Another thing quickly I want to talk about is America loves engineering and speed. So if you talk to anyone, like,
it's not like what you see in NASCAR, because NASCAR is just a straight, circle and stuff like that. There's more thrill to F1 than there is
F1.
NASCAR.
There's a lot of more engineering involved to it because there's a lot of hydraulics. There's a lot of mechanisms to make that car go insanely fast.
Right.
Think about it. Like, these cars are going 200 miles plus. That is crazy to think about. Like, if you're in a car, that's why they definitely think it's a sport to handle a car at 200 miles an hour. Fighting the G-force, that's a sport in itself, because that's kind of crazy to think about. But F1 is basically the pinnacle of engineering flexing. It resonates here in America, where America takes pride in knowing that they have the best engineers in the world, the best makers in the world. So I definitely think, why not can F1 or Americans produce a huge, fast, and competitive F1 car race?
Exactly.
It would be insane. And lastly, the younger audiences are all locked in. We talked about this, social media. We've been seeing a lot more memes. The driver personalities, they're all over the place. But it makes the sport younger, funnier, and more accessible to new fans. So I definitely think starting 2026, you're going to see the new presidents in the F1 trying to push towards that American market, especially seeing how successful it's been in Miami, Vegas, and Austin. And let's see if they can expand to other locations. I know it makes it hard because obviously in those foreign countries, you have the space for it and they have the tracks for it. But I'm curious, if they decide to do one in New York and LA, where would they put a track? They would have to figure that out. Maybe somewhere in Long Island or something at this point. But and you know why? I do think it's because it fits their rich moniker. You put it in the Hamptons. You do a track in the Hamptons, it fits exactly the F1 model. You want to be somewhere rich. You want to feel like you're living lavish. And in my opinion, I know that may feel like snobby to some people, be like, oh.
But it just makes sense because of the sport.
It makes sense because of the sport, and it's because, like, think about it this way. You want to go to these events eventually. Like, I know me, I definitely want to go to F1 Miami one day.
Yo, it's crazy. Like, when they do the F1 in Monaco, which is their WrestleMania, pretty much. I saw fucking Jeff Bezos had a $300 million yacht.
Just pull up right there.
Just pull up in the Mediterranean like it's nothing. And
Mark Zuckerberg is going to be at these shows.
Yeah, imagine that shit pulls up in the Hamptons. It's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. I do think that F1 has the potential to be in the realm of a most watched sport in America, and maybe, let's see, we might see a future where F1, future Americans might want to take part of it. I know we have one American in the circuit right now, but I think going forward, we're going to have a lot of kids going into these training academies and basically trying to become an F1 driver because it's cool.
Yeah, you can make a lot of money too.
And you can make a lot of money.
It's not as risky as people might think, especially with...
You're a professional.
You're a professional, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, you're not putting your body in the line physically more as if...
There's a lot of mental to it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of control to it. So obviously they train in those things. But F1, man, I do think next year we're going to see a bigger jump in it. But that kind of wraps up our sideline heel takes for this week. And thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.